We're talking today with Paul Papoutsis, freshman wrestler. Now, Paul, what made you decide to come to UChicago as a student athlete?
Well, I had a pretty good idea that I wanted to wrestle in college. I was looking at some other schools, and I really thought, and wrestling helped me a lot in high school, helped me develop, and just I thought all the discipline and everything that came with wrestling was just a really great aspect of the sport that I wanted to continue to I guess just continue with. I thought it was just a great sport and everything. And University of Chicago, world-class school, can't really beat the education. So that's kind of went hand in hand.
When did you first get interested in wrestling, and what made the sport appealing to you?
I was actually, I didn't know I was going to wrestle until about a week before my freshman year in high school. I had always played football, and I really liked the contact sport, but I never really knew how to play linebacker, and so I was about like 140 pounds playing linebacker. I wasn't too great at it, so one of my buddies on the team said, "Why don't you go out for the wrestling team? You wrestle guys your own weight class." And my dad thought it would be a good idea too. So a week before the season started, I decided, why not? I'll go out for it. And so really liked it, and been wrestling since, I guess.
What challenges have you faced while breaking into collegiate wrestling this year? And was there an adjustment period when you were getting comfortable with the collegiate wrestling scene?
It's definitely a step up from high school. There's no doubt. I mean, everyone you're wrestling is either pretty much at least a state qualifier, and a lot of state places and all that. And it's just the level of competition is just so much more intense. And so adjusting to that, and just kind of the new atmosphere of being in college and everything, it was a little difficult to adjust at first. But I think I've started to find my groove. I've done relatively well recently, so really think I've starting to get in my groove again.
In what ways have you improved so far this year? And what aspects are you doing well right now that are leading to victories?
I've really started to use, I've been successful, I guess is the word, in using Coach Coker's techniques that he's been teaching us. And a lot of the using different moves that'll open up other moves and all that. And for one example, Coach Coker loves the front headlock, and I've really started to use that a lot more, and it's been working really well with some of the technique, some of the other techniques that he's showing. And just one aspect I honestly never really utilized in high school is you really got to be moving in your footwork. I never really had as great a footwork as I would have liked to in high school, as I really should have in high school. So that's been another huge improvement that Coach Coker's been working with me with.
How would you describe your wrestling style and approach?
I'd say I like to lift weights a lot, and so my strength comes in my physical strength, and so I tend to overpower guys, and I really use that to my advantage most of the time. I'm stronger than a lot of the opponents that I wrestle, and so I usually use that to my advantage. That's my primary tool.
How challenging is it to maintain your body to stay in a certain weight class throughout the year?
It's relatively difficult. Honestly, the first cut down is for me personally is the toughest. I tend to bulk up a little bit in the off season, put on some muscle, and then I cut back down slowly with eating right and everything. And so that first initial cut where I get down to around my weight class area is usually the toughest. And then usually I try to stay around 6 or 7 pounds throughout I try not to go over 6 or 7 pounds, I should say. And then just with wrestling and all the cardio and everything, you're wrestling all the time. As long as you just eat right, then that's usually the way you really just eat a lot better, eat less is the main thing also. It really helps you get down in weight easier, and not binge eating on the weekends after meets is huge too.
What kind of guilty pleasure foods do you indulge in that you should probably avoid in the off season?
It's kind of a strange answer, but I actually like breakfast sandwiches a lot. like bacon, egg, and cheese, bagels, and all that. Those are my favorites. I know it's a little strange. I don't really have that much of a sweet tooth, but yeah, I like and bacon's bacon's one of my favorite foods, I guess.
At the UAAs, you were named Rookie of the Year, and you got a UAA championship at 165 pounds. What was the key to your good wrestling this last weekend?
I tried to go in there, and I knew the opponent I was wrestling from NYU. I can't remember his name, but I knew he was HM. He was up there, so he's a known guy. And I tried not to let that psych me out, and I just tried to go in there and wrestle as best I could. Use the techniques Coach Coker has been showing us that, like I mentioned before, use some moves that open up other moves. The front headlock was a big piece of that. And I really just tried to stay tough throughout the match. Just get a lead at the beginning is what I usually like to try to do, and so I got a takedown in the first period, and that was huge. And then I just stayed ahead after that.